Alright, so I've had the Pulse Stamina 140. This is the, I'm assuming probably like the 2019 iteration. They've just updated it and made this link here. So this little shark fin looking thing, they've just made that stronger and put a more direct support there, because they have been breaking, and they got broken in a pink bike test if you've seen any of the other tests. I had no problems, but I didn't send it super hard, so I sent it, but I didn't take it through anything real rough or choppy. So looked after it, but still gave it a real hard hit. So geometry, 64-degree head angle, 470 reach on the medium. I'm 174 centimeters. 1260 wheelbase, which is huge, way bigger than I'm used to. 450 chainstay, which is way bigger than I'm used to as well. I thought it was going to be cumbersome. The alloy, it's a 70, I think it's 7075. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a more dense version of the alloy, so it's the same as what Banshee use on their alloy frames. Stronger, more reliable. This is super thin. They've made it quite thin. It's two pieces that have been glued together, so it's two halves of the frame glued together, which is a unique way of doing things as well. I don't know too much about that process, but durability, no idea about long-term durability. The bearings and pivots, there is one spot where there's a little bit of maybe a bit of play in a bearing just here. We've checked the tensions, all the torque's right. May just be a little bit of play in bearing. It's minor, very minor, no big deal. I'm used to riding my bike, which is a 450 reach, 1209 wheelbase. Getting onto this, it didn't feel overly big, it just felt right. It felt really, really good. We got the Lyric 160 up the front, Super Deluxe Ultimate. And my first run down, the guy that I got it from, the guy that I'm borrowing it from, shout out to you as well. Thank you so much for letting me ride this. It's been so good. So the guy I got it from had this, it's 2 tokens as standard, 176 PSI, and way too stiff. It was too stiff for me. Had 1 token in the fork as well. He had 3 initially, but I told him to change it up a bit. Set it up with 1 to start, 1 or 0. I tried it with 1. Wasn't quite what I wanted, a little bit choppy for the amount of support I wanted. Dropped that token out, bumped it up to 100 PSI, felt absolutely sublime. I dropped it down to 97, better again without losing any real support. 97 seems to be the sweet spot for my weight, 72 naked, something like that. 40 mil or 45 mil stem. I got my 750 bars on it. This is about 755 with these grips on it, so the death grips. Spec'd out to the hills. So Mavic D-Max Pro wheels are unreal. I thought they were going to be rubbish. I'll be honest, I didn't have a lot of faith. Mavic's kind of, been up and down with wheels for a while. We got the bladed spokes. Feel strong as hell. Compliant, I guess, with the wheels. They feel compliant, but they just roll. Everything on this bike just carries so much momentum. I've mentioned before, the fastest bike I've ridden was the Trek Slash for momentum, but I couldn't corner it as well as I'd like to. But the Slash was just, forward momentum was excellent. Ridden heaps 29ers now, and not all of them give me that same feeling, so I don't think it's just the wheels. This thing is the king. It's the absolute king of momentum. It's the fastest bike I've ridden everywhere. Up the hill, pedals like an absolute goat. 77.5 degree seat angle makes climbing so pleasant, so easy on your knees, and this suspension design in this bike makes, there's no bob. It feels like it's locked out all the time without any choppiness, without any harshness. Every pedal stroke launches you forward. Stand up to pedal, no different. Launches you forward. Super efficient on the climb. I climbed as fast as I've ever climbed up to Ewok. So from Waterfall Gully Road up to Ewok is a 40-minute climb. I've done it in 39 before, going real hard, and I did it in 37 minutes. So PR'd most of the sections on the way up there as well. 15 kilos on the nose with my Nuke Proof Horizon pedals on it, as you see it now. So DHF, EXO, Dissector EXO at the back. I'd go a double down aggressor. The Dissector doesn't really brake very well. Once you get it under brakes, it there's not a lot of control at the back. Fast as hell, real fast tyre, but other than that, not great braking. Cornering's good, but under brakes they're no good. EXO 170 cranks are alright, plastic cranks obviously. Probably made it feel stiff for the climbs, which was cool. Exo drivetrain, so awesome. There's no chain slap, there's no bounce. Now there's everywhere on this frame, there's so many places. There's here, here, under here, on this shark fin, under here. There's so many places for this chain to slap, but they've got like a rubber, like a shrink wrap here kind of thing, or slapper tape under there, slapper tape all through there, and this STFU chain quietener, I guess. I think it's an STFU, obviously Aussie brand, so probably stands for shut the fuck up, which is cool. No chain rattle whatsoever, silent the entire ride. So if you check out my helmet cams on this bike, silent constantly. Once I've got the bar roll, I've got the bars quite high on this, so 29er, 164 bars are at top of the bar is 1085 to 1090 off the ground. I usually run about 1060 to 1070. Regardless of travel, I'll just set the bar up to suit. So the ratio between where my feet are and where my hands are gives me a good position, so I'm not down reaching over. I've got no problem reaching forward, but I don't like reaching down, because when you tip it in, your weight goes forward. So I like to be up at the front. So I've set that up nice and high. He had it higher, but that, I think where I've got it now is the sweet spot. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure about long-term durability on this bike. Heaps of little bits and pieces going on down here, so probably bearing issues long term. Maybe not. It's literally just an assumption. But the frame is quite thin. I'm just a little concerned about that, and I'm assuming the swing arm, the new updated swing arm, would just be if you do ever break that, would just be a handout replacement through warranty. Here's the upgraded one, and you'll be sweet for for years to come, whatever. So hopefully, durability-wise, it's killer. Let's get to performance. First run, like I said before, didn't feel great. The back end was too choppy. It felt okay, but it didn't feel like I could go fast on it, and it just felt out of whack. So I went from 176, I opened it up, see what tokens were in there, 2 tokens, dropped it down to 160, felt better. Still felt like I could get it smoother at the back, and I didn't lose any of the climbing prowess dropping that 15, 16 PSI. So I went down to 150 PSI, which got me right on 30%, maybe 29% sag. And it was so good. It was so good. I KOM'd saying that, not a lot of people have had a real red hot go at this section of trail. So KOM'd the twisted, it's the top 2/3 of twisted gum into Stew Minute Noodle up a waterfall gully. Wicked run, wicked trail, heaps of fun, technical, tight. It's just a tight single track the whole way. So check out the helmet cam or the GoPro footage of that. You can see the thing charges. Now even in that run, I made some mistakes, scrubbed a couple of trees, and it's just overgrown and kind of washed off a little bit of speed here and there. But as soon as you're off the brakes, this thing just goes. If you come into a turn and you get off the brakes just before the apex of the turn and give it a little hoot, oh, it's just every bit of effort you put into the bike going down propels the bike forward. I've never felt anything as good. It's always what I'm looking to find in my suspension setup. I'm always looking to find enough support that when I pump, I go forward. When I pump, I get a heap back out of it, but I don't want that to sacrifice too much of my compliance, because quite often you can have one without the other, and you got to find a happy medium of the two. But this thing has everything. It has it in spades. It's got reasonable compliance at the back. I wouldn't say it's sublime. I wouldn't say it's overly compliant bike, but I wouldn't say it's dead either. I've heard people say that it's a dead feeling bike, like it's a business, no nonsense. You just go fast. It's not playful. You set your forks up right, it's playful. You set your rear shock up right, it's playful enough. The only thing that comes into that is bunny hopping. It is a hard bike to bunny hop, so you've got to put a little bit more explosive effort and technique into your bunny hop if you're trying to hop something that's awkward on a trail. So that was a little bit difficult, being that such a long bike. I think if I was to get a new bike, I would want something with probably a 1240 wheelbase. I love this longer wheelbase. I'm absolutely loving it. Probably a 440 to 445 rear chainstay and a 470 reach, 460 to 470 reach. Perfect, it's fine. I think that'd be the perfect size for me. Now, sending this thing, once I got it dialed, it was surprising me. Every corner you just, it took way less effort to go fast. Way less effort to go faster than my Patrol. My Patrol's fast, it's compliant, it's set up really well. I got the Fox 36 dialed at the front. The Lyric chews it up and spits it out, honestly. The amount of effort I've gone to find a really, really, really good setup with my Fox 36, a blind man could get the same setup out of these Lyrics for sure. It's not that a blind man's riding down the trails like we do, but you're a beginner. You could have very little experience. All you need to do is dump the spacers out, give them to someone who wants them. Maybe one spacer. If you're heavier, one spacer, that's cool. But one spacer, maybe 4 clicks of low speed compression. Start with a high speed compression open and pump it up to your support, how much support you want. Which for me, like I said before, 97 PSI, killer. This thing's got Code RSC brakes. It's so decked out. It's so good. Stops on a dime, turns sharp corners on a dime, which is the biggest thing that surprised. Actually, the biggest thing that surprised me was the climbing. 15 kilo 29er, just climbs like a. Oh, it's unreal. It's hard to explain how easy climbing was for this. Ergon seat wasn't the most comfortable, but it wasn't terrible. I still was doing 4 laps a day on it, and no worries. The bike yoke, dropper post, 185 dropper post. I love having a long dropper. It's just no nonsense. You can get the seat right out the way. It's killer. Not a big fan of the finish of this bike, so it's got all these little ripple ridges in it where it's been CNC'd. It's glued together, which I spoke about before, but it kind of stains easily. It kind of, yeah, you get a lot of stains on it, and yeah, not huge on the finish. I'm not big on the finish. What can I say? 140 mil travel is the new. I think it's the new sweet spot. 140 to 150 is probably my sweet spot out the back now. Didn't feel like a 29er. Well, it felt like a 29er, but it didn't feel how I describe as 29ery, where the back end's like giving you too much feedback, and the bike doesn't feel balanced. Most of these 29ers that I've been demoing, I always end up chucking my back wheel on it. With shout out to my back wheel as well. It's an absolute hero. EX511, and it's been through hell. Hardtails, 29ers, all the hard tracks, and it's always getting slapped, and it's still killer. It still runs pretty true. Broke a spoke a while ago, other than that, it was killer. But anyway, full 29er, never even had the inkling to go, you know what, I think it'd be better as a 27 at the back. No need, absolutely no need. It's got the seat angle that you could easily run it in a 27.5 back, so mullet setup, but I wouldn't bother. I'd leave it as it is. It got around all of the tight corners. You know what? I went out today on my Patrol. I did a couple of runs on my Patrol as a palate cleanser, just so I can get a better idea of what I'm saying about this bike, pretty much. And getting around it, it's more stable by far. It's so much more stable when it's choppy through that, that sticky stuff in twisted gum. It's stable without being cumbersome. So whenever I want to move, and you can see in the videos, you can see how easily I'm getting around and through those tight, awkward bits. It's just a murderous machine. It just, whatever they've done here, this suspension platform is absolutely fucking awesome. I love it. I love everything about it. I'm not too sure. I don't know. I don't know enough about all these little details. I'm not too sure if it's going to create a lot of wear on things. But flat out performance, you cannot. I've never ridden a bike faster. I've never ridden a faster bike. Goes as hard as I want it to go. In the steep stuff, it feels so comfortable. I need a bigger bike. I've just realised I need a bigger bike. So my Patrol, from here on in, I'm starting to get closer to. If I got an offer, put it this way, if I got an offer on my Patrol, I'd take it. I need a bigger bike. No, it's nothing else against the Patrol. It is killer, and I've said it all. You've seen the way I've developed with that bike. I've spent a lot of time to get it as good as it is, but there's no downside. I can't feel the downside to having a bigger bike. It's just as good around the tight corners. It's more stable. It's easier to hold on to when it gets choppy, I guess. It's just a little harder to bunny hop. So I wouldn't go this big, but I need a bigger bike now. I most certainly need a bigger bike. And I encourage you guys to look at the numbers. Don't look at the size, medium, large, small, whatever. Look at the numbers. If you're my height, 174 centimeters, absolute minimum should be 450 reach. 450 to 460. Probably push it up to 470 if you're a hard charger. Yeah, don't buy a bike that's too small for you, because if you ride a bike that's bigger, you're going to feel the same thing that I'm feeling now. Like going out on my patrol today, feels killer. Don't get me wrong, it feels killer. It's fast, it hooks, but I love the longer bike. It just feels faster. This bike feels faster. It's bigger. It just doesn't get hooked up. It doesn't get held up anywhere. I think partly it's the suspension for sure, but maybe the wheels as well. Everything was flawless. Everything on this bike was flawless. There was nothing that annoyed me, except maybe the seat was a little bit, but it wasn't bad enough that if I got it, I'd have to change it straight away. I'd leave it. What else can I say about it? Grippier front tyre. I'd definitely put a max grip on the front. You just have to brake a little bit later on those max Terras. 165 cranks. Even though it feels like it's got quite a high bottom bracket. So there is room to, one, go a mullet, and two, go deeper in the sag and chuck it. So I'd go just over 30%. I'd go maybe 140 psi and add a token and see how that feels. A little bit more experimentation would be nice, but as it is, standard, hit it out the park. Absolutely hit it out the park. Fidlock bottle. It's the only bottle you can run in here as far as I know. Good idea, easy enough, in and out, but this is rubbish. The way the water comes out, like if I've got my full face on, it just goes everywhere. It goes all over my camera, all over my shirt, everywhere. I've got to take the helmet off and literally use it in my mouth. Like put the piece in my mouth. I thought maybe the Camelback would screw on, but different thread and ever so slightly different size. So Fidlock, either make a better lid or change that so it's compatible with the Camelback lids, because the Camelback lid you can squirt it from here, and it's just a clean stream, go straight into your mouth. Pull your helmet out of the way, quick squirt, feed the dog, water the dog. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about that bottle is the lid. It's no good, especially when you're climbing. You just want to pop it open, give it a squirt, have a drink. No, you got to stop and open it up, pull your helmet up, and it just goes everywhere. And then you're out of water, on your second or third climb. So, yeah, tiny little complaints. Like I said, 15 kilos exactly. Climbs like it weighs 12 kilos. Climbs like it's locked out, and descends better than anything. It's faster than anything I've ridden. So very, very easy to go fast on. Probably it's not super easy to get out of. I'd say it probably would be easy to get out of control on if you don't have it set up right. If that rear shock's too firm, it'll kick you straight off the track. It'll ride you. The bike will ride you. It'll be like riding a wild horse. So get your suspension set up right. Seems like 30%. Bang on 30% is the sweet spot. Like I said, the bottom bracket's quite high, so you can drop that even to 30, maybe close to 35%, and just use tokens to give you that support, strengthen up the shock. But I'd leave it as it is and just send it. Mavic wheels, completely straight and true still, which is cool. They didn't take any big hits, but you never know. Spoke tension, I don't know how to decipher that with these bladed spokes, but they all feel good. It all feels even. 200 rotors front and back. It's got this little Shimano adjustable chain guide as well, which is pretty cool. The bike was silent. Super fast, super fun to ride. Doesn't sap any of your energy climbing. I love it. I absolutely love how easily this thing climbs. So if it was a direct-to-consumer, if it wasn't a direct-to-consumer and I could roll into a shop and it was a little bit cheaper, I don't know what the cheaper build, without all the plastic cranks and the high-end stuff. Don't know what kind of price that'd come in at, But if I could get something like this from a shop, you'd have me sold. You'd definitely have me sold. I need to have face-to-face contact with the people I'm buying the bike from. So that's the only thing I don't like about these direct-to-consumer brands. Warranty, you know, it's emails back and forth, and then I've got to post something away, or is it the shop? Roll into the shop, look guys, I've got some issues here, can you guys go into bat for me? Wicked, build a good rapport with your shop, and obviously shop local. And with this stuff that's going on now, coronavirus and the world shutting down, conspiracy theories all over the place, it's more important now than ever to make sure that your money stays home. So spend your money in your own backyard. But by all means, if you're into it and you got the cash, you ain't gonna regret it. Hey, you're not. If you're a charger, you're gonna absolutely love this bike. I don't know if it'll work as well for someone who doesn't charge. Probably will. It probably does. It most likely does. I can't see why it wouldn't. But when you get up to speed, god damn it, and it gets itself up to speed. Fastest bike I've ever ridden. So I'll leave it at that. I can't say anything more about it. Oh, other thing that I noticed. These tyres, Exo Max Terra, I said in a couple of the videos that I wasn't trusting it. But it seems like I think I did 12 runs on this bike. After a few runs, they started to come alive. So the tyres started to get better. I started to develop more trust in them. But they also felt more bitey. So they're not like a max grip, but they definitely started to come alive. And I think either not riding them hard or leaving them for a while, they glaze over. The rubber glazes over a bit. So you've got to chew into that rubber and get them alive again. So whenever I'm trying to recondition my tyres, it's CT18, which is that truck wash or super wash, car wash. CT18 always makes my rubber super soft and sticky again. Grips, tyres, everything. So I'll leave it at that. This bike's an absolute shredding weapon. Thank you so much, Andrew, for hooking me up. This is killer. And I'll get back to you now. Thanks a lot.